Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser.
No, I'm Johnny B.
I'm James Workshop.
And I'm Coach.
But together we are
Modeling
for Advantage. Woo!
The
Nailed
great
it.
cacophony. All right, so here we are. We've got Coach from Family Gamers who's going to chat to you a little bit about what he does. Welcome to the show, everyone. Currently, look at that. We've got 3 people straight in there. Rosie Besnu, I don't know who that weirdo is. Do you know who she is, Tom?
No.
Yes, Taylor says howdy. And Nick from Team Clueless Games. Good evening, mate. To see, look, mate, you know you're getting somewhere when people are waiting for the show to start. Hamster on the painting table and text saying. So you start a quick round the table. What's everybody doing? I am going to be painting. I'm going to be modeling or cleaning up some Warlord Resin, which is a new experience for me. These are the archers from the SPQR, the Gallic archers. So I'm going to do a bit of a cleanup of those. What about you, John?
That is a very crinkly bag, sir. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
I am working on the Romains from SPQR box set also. The Dude Bros. What are these? Caesarean. These are Caesarean.
Caesarean or Caesarean, yeah.
Caesarean. Slightly different looking from your average Roman Dude Bro. And that's it. What about you, James?
I'm working on a sniper team for
you're not.
Soviet bolt actions.
You finished that last week, didn't you?
No, that was my German sniper team. Apparently, I like snipers.
Right.
This week, I'm working on my Soviet sniper team. What are you up to, Coach?
I received it yesterday. I did all the models, and I will be putting all the terrain from Crisis Protocols.
Ooh.
Crisis Protocols.
Oh, cool.
The new
Tell us more.
Marvel, yeah.
So we a buddy of mine came on Sunday. We got ours yesterday. I put them all together, and we were actually in the middle of a game, but then I had to talk to the gents from England, so we had to stop in the middle of the game. But yeah, that's the new hotness now. And as you know, we don't really play things that just because we play things that we like, and it seems that this game is going to do it. I just want to say too that if any North Americans are here and they're listening now, and you get stuck, just ask a question. I am well versed in the King's English, so if anything is not understood, I can translate. I'm very happy to do that.
That's jolly fine of you, sir. It's a dapper thing for you to do.
Oh, jolly good.
So if you start speaking Cockney and whatnot, I can get to it.
Is that a fine Welsh name there, Alid? I don't know many Alids. Rosie, I put off watching a video that was dropped by another YouTuber. That's true love for you, isn't it, John?
Thank you, Mrs.
Yay.
She's still watching it. It's just she's on her phone with this now.
Oh, yeah, true.
Just glancing over at the comments now and then. Right, so that's what we're all up to at the moment. So, Coach,
Yes.
why don't we start? So you have a YouTube channel, Family of Gamers 777, which has been referenced, and I know we first came across your channel because you were pretty much the only channel that I could find in English that was covering Mortal Gods, and you did full playthroughs. So if I was interested in Ancient Skirmishes, and I watched your videos, and was like, yeah, I can get behind this. I got in touch with the lads, and James decided he was going to take it on with me. Since then, I've seen, among other influences that you have had on me, you reviewed the Marnius Calgar comic. So I didn't buy it for John for Christmas because I saw you guys talking about it, and I know your son, your co-host, is quite involved in comics, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, he actually works in a comic shop, and he's going into graphic design. So that's
he wants to make comics.
Well,
wow.
I think not really make comics, but advertising, whatnot. But that's the field he's going in. He can actually do that also. So it's kind of an open field, designing.
That's interesting.
Advertising. Yeah. So every time we get a rule book, he's like, "Let me look at this." And just a spoiler, he hates the Crisis Protocol rule book. He says it's one of the worst put together world books ever. You know. So.
going in with high Marvel expectations. It's
Yes.
got to be difficult to match that.
Well, yes, absolutely. So that's me introducing you. Why don't you tell the viewers at home then what it is about your channel? Obviously you're two astonishingly handsome young men, one a bit younger than the other, of course. Why should they come and have a look at what you do? What is it you do? Why do you do it? All that sort of stuff.
Well, what we do is, you know, you said it best. When we don't follow the zeitgeist, we kind of do whatever we want. We started the channel. It's about 7 years ago, and we did it as kind of a father and son thing, just to do, and it kind of branched off from there. And you know, people like what we did. We started going to conventions, and people were like, "Aren't you the Family Gamers guys? And you know, can you ask us some questions and whatnot?" And I thought that was pretty cool. So we just, you know, as for fun. The main thing is, you know, painting videos, just us kind of hanging out and battle reporting. I think that's the thing. And what we like to do is we like to really kill each other in these battle reports. Like really, like, I don't know if it comes across. We're looking to really get in each other's throats and do it, but we do it in a way that it's fun. So, you know, if we're playing a game like, say, Mortal Gods and or even Test of Honor, and a fumble happens and it's horrible, but we love when that happens. You know, to us, some craziness will happen. Or we were playing the other day Crisis Protocols with a friend of ours. We call them hot dice. You know, when you call a skinny guy like chubby, or you call it, you know, like
yeah.
So hot dice is doing it, and it's an 8-sided dice, and there's one skull that does nothing, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to kill your guy right now," and he rolls 4 skulls, and it just was 20 minutes of us. We just could not play anymore because it's typical hot
rolling around on the floor.
Yeah,
because of the hot dice.
Yeah, so we just do a lot of stuff like that. We've been doing, you know, recently we started doing months where, you know, we focused on Mortal Gods. This month we were focusing on Test of Honor, and we just kind of have fun with it. But it's really just 2 of us hanging out in the house, in the basement, painting, playing games, talking to gents like you. That's the real thing. We really started this was kind of like we branched out. So I know, Kaiser, you found out about us, and then you reached out to us, and we reached out to you, and then next thing you know, we're hanging out live. So that's the real thing we did with it. I'm not independently wealthy like you guys, so you know I do have a regular account, but you know,
look at all this beauty, obviously.
So independently wealthy. Yeah.
The wallpaper is literally peeling off of the walls here. You know,
Johnny literally lives with his mum.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, I'm in my mum's basement.
When you talk to, like, I'll talk to a guy at work, and they'll say, "You have a YouTube channel?" Yeah. Your videos are pretty good. You must be raking in the money. Yeah.
Both pounds a month, obviously.
I like, you know, you think you have the channel, and then we're in a very expensive hobby, and we do it because we love it, but we also taking the time to make videos. You're not really rolling in anything. You're just kind of like, you know, like I don't know how guys do it. I want to ask you guys. See, I'm already taking over the cast. You thought I wasn't, but
no, it's good.
No, that's why we want a guest, though, mate. We want, you know, don't want to just us every week.
So let's ponder this. I see guys on YouTube who do a lot of YouTube videos, and I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm a fan of YouTube, not just because of being on it. Just I love seeing all different stuff. So like that's how I got drawn to you guys. When we started Flames of War, I said, "Oh, these guys are pretty good." And then you guys are just kind of hanging out and doing the lazy battle reports with no editing. I won't get into that. But anyway, so
outrageous.
You said to throw some shades. I'm throwing shade. So you know, we got into Flames of War because we wanted to get into Flames of War.
Yeah.
Is that the sexy new game that's out there, or you know, is it like the cool thing that everybody's doing but I'm not really into, but I'm going to do it for YouTube? I don't understand how those guys, like, I could see it comes across when a guy's playing a game and it's really like it's BS. You know what I mean? They're not into the game. They're doing it because it's like, well, everybody's got a Gucci shirt. I'm going to get a Gucci shirt. You know what I mean? We don't. That's not us. You know. I think we're in the same vein of that. I'm not going to go spend $400 to make a video on YouTube that I'm not going to enjoy, or there's no real monetary return anyway. So I might as well just play whatever the hell I want. You know, what do you guys think about that? Like, what's the?
No, that's exactly on the button for us, I think. What is interesting is watching the channels that do sometimes jump on the zeitgeist, the current theme and the best game out there.
Mhm.
And yeah, as you say, they're not into it. It's just they're doing it because it's the new thing, and that's painful to watch sometimes. But it's painful to watch me playing any game. So you know, I'm used to that.
I find it's especially bad with the sort of bigger commercial channels where they try and do something in historical that's got a bit of a zeitgeist. So a big one that I would say would be Black Seas, when that was being covered by everybody.
Right.
And you'd have people talking about these ships that just had no idea what they were talking about. They're kind of holding up the sprue to the camera and saying, look, there's a sail there and there's a spigot and I think this is a first rate. It's just like, mate, you just shouldn't be doing this because anybody that's interested in this knows a million things that you don't know, and you're just totally wrong about everything. And I saw that on several channels, commercial channels, and I've seen similar things with just historicals in general. People are talking about it, and they haven't played the game, but someone from the company has sent them a box to review, and they just don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
And it's really soulless when they do that. You know, I think one of the things that we've really tried to do with our unboxings, I say we've tried to do, and as the producer, I don't even know whether it's in it. Maybe I've just let myself waffle on about the history a great deal more, because I think I need to bring something to this. You know, they've already seen it. Here's the models. This is how much the box is worth. What am I bringing to this? Saying, I'm telling you what some history here and why I'm into it and why I want to do it. And the approach we take to a new game, usually we have a little Facebook chat with all the people who contribute regularly to the channel. Generally, I talk to John first, and we have this really frank conversation about whether he's actually going to paint the models within a month. If he's up for it, then I'll do it with. Generally, we'll do it with John, and then outside of that, I will then go to James if I need it to be done quickly. Because he will. You'll even you'll paint for a game that you're not even that into, won't you, James? Just to get it done.
Yeah, just to get something on the channel. It's happened before.
Get something done, and I really appreciate that. But then, if there isn't a lot of appetite between these two guys, I will then just put it out in the Facebook groups. If anybody wants to do this, you can have half the starter set. All you have to do is paint it, and we'll take it from there. So it's rare that we're doing something that we're both not into. But sometimes at least one of us is into it, because like I say, you just can't do a good battle report of a game you're not into.
You can't. It comes across very disingenuous, and or you know what it also bothers me too. There are some games that we play that we're very into, but we know the rules inside and out. And then a guy who's going to kind of gravitate to the game, and then it's almost like I don't know if anyone's ever into martial arts, but these 20th degree black belts who can split your head open from across the room and stuff, so-called masters. So these guys are masters of tacticians and stuff like that. And you watch the game and you're like, you're screwing up every freaking rule. What's wrong with you? Just oh God, give it up. It's just terrible. Stop doing that.
Yeah. That's actually one of the areas I find most difficult about YouTubing is the very high expectations of your understanding of the game and the rules. And that's a real problem for us because we are proper hobby butterflies. And it's one of the reasons we've focused a lot more on starter sets and just working our way up from the beginning. So we find it's especially bad in 40K. In terms of comments, people watch a 40K video and they're saying, like, what are you doing? You got that rule wrong here. You got this wrong there. And we're like, because when you play down the club or with your friends, there's a lot of stuff that you just don't really care about.
Or you just forget.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You know, you just wing it. You don't stop and get the rule book out saying, I don't know, you got to move through a crater thinking, I think that's minus 2 inches off your movement. What do you think? Saying, sounds right. You know, it
sounds
doesn't,
good. Say that a lot.
It doesn't matter what it is, but things like that, they'll come up, and you'd be surprised if you don't YouTube how often you do that when you're gaming normally. And when you start YouTubing, you need to make sure you know what you're doing is right, or at least it's not wrong game after game after game.
Well,
Go on.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kaiser. I'm sorry.
No. They're here to listen to you tonight, not me. They're not me whenever they want.
What we can't. Oh, I didn't want to. I'm not going to steal your thing, but I'm a professional. My buddy Solomon Dredd is here, a UK guy. I've known him for like forever. He amazing painter. So I don't know if you guys have on his channel. I don't know. He hasn't. Dredd, you haven't put out something in a while, but solvent abuse. He very like a lot of realistic war. I got a lot of weathering from him, learning how to weather and stuff. So, and for a white guy, he's got dreads down to his ankles. So that in and of itself is very impressive. So, but we always say at the beginning of the video, at the beginning of the video, adamant about the fact that we know that we're going to screw up the rules. We are. Yeah. So if we do, and you know how to play the game better than us, we'd be more than happy for you to correct us so that we can make our game better for next time. Because if you're going to watch us again and you're going to improve it, we're going to use what you said and and use that. But sometimes you get in the middle of a game and you're doing, and that's the thing with, but that's like, like I'm a coach here. I'm a high school coach. Sometimes you forget to do something and then the opponent takes advantage, or your opponent forgets to do something. You could take advantage. That's part of wargaming. It's like, all right, it's your turn. Oh man, I didn't roll for this. Oh, I should have got 2 wounds back. Oh, I should. But that's life, baby. That's the way it works. So, but when that perfect player shows up, let me know, because I want to play that guy. I want to play the guy who doesn't forget any rules. I want to, Jesus, Buddha, or Allah, whoever shows up, that's the guy I want to play, because I want to learn how to play that good. But until then, we're going to muddle through it as crazy as possible,
Mortal Gods was definitely a game like that for us, where we
got a lot wrong in our first video.
We jumped into that and we were reading the cards like kind of exactly as they were supposed to be. Like we thought that this was how you would understand this rule, but there's a bit of interpretation based around the wording that they use in that game. So we definitely got quite a lot wrong with that one. Well,
that happens in every game. Like, we like, I'm going to use Crisis Protocol a lot because it's a new game we're getting into. And there's this one thing that says, there's a thing that says bleed. So when you activate, we were doing it where you already get a wound. But then I'm looking at it, so I'll pull up the book here. But it says at the end of your activation, you bleed. So you can you'll use the thing. But if at the beginning of the activation, let's say I get rid of it, because you have an option to get rid of it with an action, does that mean do I not take it, or do I? So it's a back and forth interpretation. So I look at it depends. For me, I look at it depends on the situation. If it's going to help me, then I would say yes. But then for Andrew, it's up to him. You're going to take the wound when you're supposed to. But I know what you're saying, because you could read it 2 different ways by reading the same, the same rule, and it's great. And then 2 people can read it the same way and interpret it differently, and both be right and wrong. It's insane,
And I think that's one of the areas where I think some games really need to kind of pitch up and hit the 21st century and should be publishing periodic FAQs.
Right.
If you're still commercially selling a rule set, you should be ready to provide real-time updates and amendments and FAQs. Because often you'll find, and I do like the fact that I don't like Games Workshop doing that, because they change their rules every 3 months. And that's the problem with that. That's a really addictive process to go down as a rules creator.
Right.
Is that you can just change things all the time. I'm not talking about changing things. I'm talking about tightening things up and clarifying things. It's one of the systems. One of the reasons I like bolt action is it's the same system that's been around for quite a long time, and so it's quite rare that you find things that are not clear. There are definitely things that are not clear, and the problem with it is that different bits. There isn't like a front page of Warlord Games says bolt action errata, and there's a 20-page document there, and there really should be. I think there are FAQs and erratas and things, because a lot of those things, like you say, if you were to rewrite those rules, you need another phase, don't you? And you need to explain the order in which these things happen.
Right. And
when you're new to a game, it's really difficult to understand what the kind of intent or how other mechanics work that are similar. You know, there are a lot of things that kind of happen in this end phase, and is there a normal order to that end phase?
You can end up with stuff like truly historic rule sets that haven't changed that much over the years, like Magic the Gathering, like something that's been around for 25 years, where you end up inventing systems that people will never learn, but that will at some point come up, and someone will know it, which you could think of as a positive thing. Like, I understand that there is a stack in Magic the Gathering, but I couldn't tell you the order that it runs in or how you resolve that. Like, there's things that happen in certain orders.
Yeah.
So,
but as more and more war games have cards and special abilities and things, order of operations is actually quite important, and an increasingly important thing for a lot of games. And it's often something they've left out.
But you know, I don't know. I mean, how long have you guys been playing 40K? Approximately a while now, or 10 years? Let's say 10 years at least.
10 years at least. Yeah.
Okay. So
maybe 20.
Probably closer.
20 years, 30 years.
On and off, yeah.
Yeah. So
still not good at it, but you know.
Do you remember now? What everybody doesn't understand is the Games Workshop that we have now wasn't the Game Workshop of 10 years ago. The very like you know, they'll rub your back and put you to sleep and, you know, make you feel good. In the old days, it was like, I don't understand this rule, and you would ask a question and it would come back where it will just read it. I was like, yeah, I read it. I don't know what it means. Well, read it again and you'll get it.
Look, we'll update the rule book in 7 years. Just wait, and
yeah,
you'll
but
know.
This is like back in the day, even in White Dwarf, you'd have the readers' questions about, can you clarify this rule? And it's literally, there's some instances where they're like, well, how about you just open the book and bloody read it? And it's very true. But sometimes it's really not that clear in the specifically Games Workshop's rule systems, and as you were just saying, how does it all work in the stacks and whatnot? That made no sense to me. So carry on.
We got to sleep with Johnny.
Let's go back quickly to the comments then. Historic battles don't have points values. They're asymmetric. Oh, it's Andrew. Hello, buddy.
Another one.
What's up? OG Andrew here from the Family and Gamers. What's up? Welcome to this live stream.
See, he knows product and he knows advertising. See? Very good.
He's wearing the wrong shirt. You can send him get changed. It's great to see you, buddy. So historical battles. One of the things that we know about historical battles is fundamentally in the modern era anyway. It's about force management.
Well, it's only about now.
People know you will succeed in an attack or an assault if you've got time to think about it. The question is what amount of force you need and what you're able to do. And one of the things about that is actually what never works well on a war games table is generally a force ratio of about 3-1 is what you're expected to need. Right. So I'm gonna have 3 times as many points as you're gonna have, and we're gonna fight the battles in. No, mate, the defensive modifiers are not that good. You know, and I have to find with war games, the more you think about war games in relation to actual historical battles and military operations, you just need to forget that it's at all a simulation, because it isn't. It just you know, as soon as you start thinking at all deeply,
it's a freaking game.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
Oh man, you know how many fights I've got into? Because I don't know. Sometimes I get a little brash, but these guys on Facebook. I remember we were. I forget what it might have been Dead Zone, and I had a guy saying, Well, I was talking to a 4-star general yesterday, and I was like, dude, it's a game, man. Yeah, but I was and I did this, dude. And I kept saying it's a game, and he would list like where you have to scroll at least 3 times to get to the bottom of it. Correct. And I was like, so this is what I always do. I go, yeah, I don't know what you mean. And then he'll go in another soliloquy about it, big Magna Carta of why I'm wrong. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, way too long to read. You're still wrong. I think you guys are the spring chickens. I think I'm the older guy, although I look very young. I'm
just good looks, mate.
I'm way too old to argue with people, man. Just
Except your son.
Well, that's different. That's I don't argue. I impart wisdom. So, but what happens is with that, it's just like I just go, you know what? You're right, man. Now, I see what you're saying. You're right. No, but no, there's no reason to talk anymore. You've changed my thing. Putting your member in a vice every morning. It's just, yeah, I got you, man. That's great. No, but I want to tell you, no, you don't have to. Good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't even argue anymore. There's no reason.
And that's really the thing, isn't it? Is actually a lot of people, when they are looking for an argument, especially online, they're not really looking to hear an alternative point of view or even change your mind. They just want to spout to the world what it is that they know or they believe.
Right.
So interestingly here, Mythos is here. Hey there, beautiful people. Mythos has a phrase or use a phrase a lot in relation to this kind of stuff, and I'm well behind him. In terms of wargaming and gaming in general, much like the rest of life, you do you. The world is a big enough place. If you want to play it and try and recreate history in great detail, and that works for you, then you do that. But don't expect me to do that. If you want to play Warhammer with the really complicated mission rules that are currently in circulation, then you do that. But if you don't want to do that, there are other ways of doing it that may suit you better.
Going back to an earlier topic, the reason I ended up picking up Flames of War was because you got some out at some point while you were putting a completely different army away. I literally looked at it and I was like, oh, cool, tiny tanks. And that was the whole thing. I saw some Panzer IVs that you were putting away and I got interested in them, and then I started looking into it. And I still haven't got out of the, oh, cool, tiny tanks phase of the game. And I'm just still really enjoying it.
Compared to Warhammer tanks, Warhammer tanks are massive.
They are
absolutely massive. Whereas their armor personnel carriers are often really small. It's like, no, that's supposed to fit 12 guys in it. That is no way. Does that, unless they're freeze dried.
But that's just the discipline of the emperor that they can do that. So
definitely that is the discipline very close with their brothers.
Yes, they pray to the Mechanicus, and they play Twister in there, so they can all intertwine in the Rhino. And there's 2 sardines. Right, there's 10 guys plus a character in there, so you're okay.
Yeah, but not Primaris ones. They've got different. They're on USB 2. You see, they've got their iPods and stuff into a Rhino, so they're not getting in.
Right,
they can't recharge their iPhone.
That's a funny thing too, because now the Primaris can't go into certain vehicles. So can you imagine that? Like, let's go over here, guys. All right, we're gonna kill the chaos or whatever. All right, wait. Oh, you guys can't get in this Rhino. That's not for you guys. You got to get into your own Rhino. Yeah, but we don't have a Rhino. We didn't have enough points for it. Well, then you're going to have to hoof it, bro. I don't know how you get across the battlefield.
Exactly. Or to the battlefield, more importantly.
Yeah.
So while we got you here, you do you, baby. A Big McDan Scholar's here. Buddy, we did talk when we first started doing this. I know you'd started a new job, but whenever you're ready to come on the show, when we get you booked in, mate, we'd love to talk to you on here. Big McDan Scholar does a lot of 40k stuff, especially Orcs.
Yes.
He's got some filthy yellow Marines as well, but we don't want to talk about them. And he's into Thousand Suns, so he doesn't like to talk to Space Wolf people either very much.
Oh.
So, Coach, then, I know you do Mortal Gods. Obviously, we talked about that, and I know you've started doing Flames of War.
Yes.
Because I saw you had your kind of first game that horribly lopsided because you had like loads of IS-2s and so forth up against some not nearly so powerful German tanks.
That was Andrew. No, Soviets, and that was Andrew was really butthurt that day. And it was funny because the video, he was like, we just finished playing, and he's like, I want to record a video.
Yeah. I watched that. And he was obviously in pain.
Yeah, and next thing you know, I'll tell you what though, we got a lot of guys like that's how I found out about you guys, because you were commenting, and then a lot of guys were like, dude, that book is no good. You got to get rid of it. It's like, which kind of sucks because it's a beautiful book. I paid for it, and now it's like we never played a game. We started playing with it, and they're like, yeah, that's not good. I was like, if I wasn't a veteran war gamer, I would have been really pissed off. I was just a little bit pissed off that I had to buy a new book, but then we bought the new book and everything evened out. But yeah, the Flames of War is a lot. It's a lot of fun. I don't care, but then you get people like, well, don't play that. Play Command and Carnage or whatever, different games, whatever. I'm like, no, but we just started playing this today. I don't want to get.
I like this. Yeah. You like that? I like this.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I would say about systems, and actually, Mortal Gods is a rare new system for us. It doesn't follow the general mold. Fundamentally, in most war games, you make some kind of roll to hit something, and then you make some kind of roll to kill it, depending on its survivability.
Right.
And I don't believe that that's necessarily the best way of doing it. I certainly don't believe that it's the only way of doing it. But I do believe that if your rule set doesn't do it that way, it's then become quite unfamiliar to everybody. So it better be doing it better. If it's different but not better, then I really don't like it. Because it's just like, you're just making me, change those numbers, use D8s, D12s, move your hit roll to 2+ and have all the penalties as minuses. Do it like, but if you're moving away from it, I roll a D6 and need a 4 to hit. There needs to be a good reason for it. And I find often with games that there aren't good reasons for it. They've recreated similar statistical results or outcomes and just changed it for the sake of it. But it hasn't done anything other than make me fail to grasp the game quickly. Yeah. I think. Whereas Mortal Gods, interestingly, it doesn't do that. And we'd seen you play it, and so we were a little bit slower to start because I do need to go away and read this.
Right.
But it is a sufficiently small scale game. I mean, what did we play, Jim? We played a couple of games at 300 points now, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And in each case, thinking, the game actually took about half an hour because we weren't very skilled players and we just beat each other up quickly. But thought, I don't know whether I want this game to get much bigger than this.
No, they suggest that Mythic should be played at 500. And I'm looking at 500
models.
Yeah, like it's 500 points, but 100 points of that is a Hydra, please. Like, it makes sense at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm quite resistant to radically different systems, just because of the time investment in learning the game, because you have to put all that time in before you know whether you like it. And that's a big commitment for me at this point. It's the most precious commodity. I'm not saying that money is worthless to me, because that's absolutely not true. And for anyone that wants to know, by the way, Modeling for Advantage makes about £25 a month from YouTube. To give you some context to what that means,
that's 35 more than we make.
Yeah, it doesn't pay for anything that we unbox, for example. It doesn't cover the cost of our unboxings. But maybe one day it will be more. But that's what it looks like as a small YouTuber that's doing okay. Yeah, we get about 500 views a day, and that translates to about 25 UK pounds a month. It was doing better than that before the lockdown, where we were putting out more battle reports and so forth, but only a little bit. Right, you do you, baby. Absolutely. Sacred Mechanicus Clown Car writes, let them fit 10 Marines into a Rhino. Yeah, definitely. Never played 40k, but I would not look to getting into 40k right now, mate, unless you're really motivated. It's suffering from a huge rules blow problem. We're having a major rethink about how we do 40k at the moment.
We stopped playing, so we played 4th, 5th, and 6th, and then 7th drastically changed, so we stopped, and we missed 8th, came back to 9th, and I think the break was actually better, because we're coming back with an idea of how to do it, but then there's new stuff So it's almost like a new game that we're learning, but we kind of have an idea of the game. So for us, it worked out good. We just kind of picked up Indominus and went from there. And especially if you're doing getting it back into it, whatever, you got to get that because, like, when they put out something like Indominus, it's cash wise, it's probably the best deal on the market because there's like
Games Workshop is
for Games Workshop because there's like $400 American worth of characters in there that you're paying half for. So, and then the rule book and whatever. So that's it. But if you're going to start, I mean, the only reason we got back into it because we got a bunch of stuff from before. I think that's the thing. But like you were saying about the rule system, though, I will respectfully agree to disagree. And here's why. So we were doing the same thing, like you say, roll to hit, roll to wound, roll to save. But we got into Test of Honor. Yeah, and Test of Honor is kind of the precursor to Mortal Gods, and where it's the same thing, but you have to pass tests. And it works for the game because the samurai were these iconic warriors who basically, and especially during the Sengoku period, where it was all about the samurai. That's where you get the Shambara and all the, those cool movies. That's where it's usually based on. And so those guys were just all about warfare. So one strike, one kill and things like that. And I like the fact that it's not, roll to hit, roll to wound, or it's like if the guy already activated, he doesn't have, like Mortal Gods, you have your armor that you can actually roll 2 or 3 dice with. With Test of Honor, if you activate, there's no armor. You're like out in the wind. So you're gonna hope that the guy fumbles or messes up. But it works for that game because it's a samurai game. I like that because I don't want to do, just my opinion. You know what they say about opinions. I like the fact that if I'm going to play 40K, it's got that rule set. But then if I want to play Flames of War, I don't want to have to take the same rule set with Flames of War, playing the same game just with tanks. Now I want to play some Samurai. I'm playing the 40K Flames of War rule set in Test of Honor, but the same exact game. So basically, you're doing the same game with different models. I think the variety for me is what makes it interesting. And like, all right, so in this game you could do this, but then in this game I got to rethink my strategy because, and then you have squad base versus miniature base, individual miniature base. I think that also brings a whole new horizon to it. So, and there's enough games out there. I mean, there's a lot of garbage out there too, but like you're saying, the time commodity is a thing. You got to be able to pick a game that you like, and that's why I like YouTube, because you could watch a guy play 30 games and say, all right, I'm going to get into this, or you could say, man, that's just not for me, man. So
yes,
that's the beauty of it.
Definitely. I mean, it's what I said. I think YouTube was probably responsible for me to getting back into miniature gaming in general. I've been like a lot of people, you go through different phases in your life. I used to play D&D at school, and then I played big Napoleonic games in the local club, and then Warhammer, and then didn't miniature game, just role played, then move around, did different types of games. But I got back into miniature gaming more recently. By recently, I mean within my lifespan, not within. I don't mean like within a couple of years, but I didn't really do any miniature gaming in my 20s, for example. More in my mid-30s and beyond. Interesting. So, Test of Honor then. Let's just go back to Test of Honor, because I find not just the system, and the system is interesting, and how you talked about the relationship between system and gameplay, but about samurai games, because I find Japanese culture very interesting, because I don't find it interesting. And what I mean by that is it seems to be Orientalism, particularly in relation to Japan. Some people are really into it, like really into it. Whereas I find, and Mini Walmart just joins in to say Bonza. Is that Australian, or is that supposed to be a Bonza, mate?
I think he said
Bonza, mate.
not Bonza.
Well,
Bonsai.
Bonsai is the
not Banzai. Bonsai.
Bonsai is the tree.
Yes.
Yeah, bonsai tree.
So, Orient, particularly samurai. So you mentioned
Sengoku.
Sengoku.
Yeah. So in terms of for those that are not that familiar with, there's people generally, they've probably seen that Tom Cruise movie, right? They know that there's Japan that probably people know that it industrialized very late but very rapidly, and they've probably seen that movie, and they probably know a little bit, some idea of what samurai life was like just a bit before that. But actually, you're talking about a period of about 1,000 years there, aren't you? So what you just talked about, when is that, and what's that about?
So the it's probably somebody collecting that. I'm sorry. I usually throw the phone out and into another room, but see?
Order. Andy Hilton, we've had a cliffhanger for 2 weeks. Yes. The box I have unboxed. There's a whole 4 minutes of footage of me taking random things out of a random box. It will appear.
I will get it up this week. He has done it.
It's a box unboxing.
Mate, you've mostly built it all up in your head about how much shite I'm going to get in that box and how awesome it's going to be. You're going to be so let down.
I wasn't. There was some half decent stuff in there for me. So yeah, you're talking about that period. Then when is that? What's it all about? Why is it interesting?
So there's different, obviously different time periods, and in Japan they they break it down. There's like the Meiji Restoration or the Edo period, but during the Sengoku period, which was 1407 to 1603. That was where you see, like, the Tom Cruise was probably during the end of the Edo area, where they were trying to westernize, and you have to think, like, the samurai samurai family was bred, and the kid at 8 years old, they shave his head, put the top knot on, and they put a live blade on him, and like, now you're samurai. So you walk around and people are bowing to you, and the peasants are bowing to you. Now the Edo period comes, and they want to westernize, and they say to the samurai, all right, well, remember all that fighting and stuff you were supposed to do in that code of honor? You should start growing beans, so it wasn't a good thing. So the Last Samurai, although it was Tom Cruise and fictional, there is a little historical validity to it, where that was the Satsuma was trying to overthrow the emperor because they thought he went insane because he was giving into the foul gaijin that were coming in. But the Sengoku area was like the warring clans era, where it was kind of the unification of Japan, but which clan was going to do it. So, backstabbing and all this stuff, and all that cool stuff you see in the movies, like a lot of Kurosawa movies were during that period of time. And that's where also too, like, one clan would destroy another. Now you have 30 samurai become Ronin. They have no one to go with. So that's that period, the fighting period. The Edo period is kind of, you think about it, samurai wise, was boring because it was more political. And then the samurai became politicians also. So, I don't want to play a game where we're sitting around talking about, kokus of rice and things like that. So, but that's where that is. And I got to tell you though, the historical guys, they don't let up, bro. It's like, I posted a picture in one of the sites, and I drew, I painted. I like to paint opposite of 40K. Instead of grimdark, I like the samurai more colorful and different colors.
Yeah.
And one guy was telling me that that color wasn't used until like 1704. And I was like, you mean to tell me someone didn't have a blue kimono in
Evil Sun Scarlet? I don't think they made that until about 2010.
We got blood on the stream.
There you go. So, I was arguing with him, and I just said, what the hell's wrong with you? Who cares? I'm going to paint them the way I want to paint them. Maybe I don't have red paint. I got to use blue. I ran out. So he was like, well, I would never play you because you have the wrong colors and stuff. And I'm like,
wow.
Instant win.
Yeah, I was like, we wouldn't play just because you're an ad.
Thank God.
Win-win situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because and that's the thing that pretty uniquely, as a YouTuber, you're putting yourself into that situation where people in real life. I mean, have you ever met the guy who won't play you because you painted your miniatures the wrong color? There's probably have in the past told people that I don't really want to play him unless they're going to paint their miniatures. I probably have said that, but I have never ever said anything about the quality of that painting. But I'm just someone who just doesn't want to play the sea of grey plastic.
Right.
But I'm not saying that I always refuse to, but I probably have told people in the past, come on, mate, at some point you got to paint these miniatures if we're going to keep playing.
Right. If you just took it out of the box and you just glued it, we got you. But if you're going to have something for 4 months, 5 months, and you're still running the gray tide, then,
it's more that side of things. Yeah. But different people feel really differently about that.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah. For years, I played plastic and just didn't care. I just wanted to play Warhammer, and nobody around me really cared at all.
Yeah.
So
and I get that. That's different. It stings a bit, actually. It's probably a deeper cut than I thought it was. So this period that you're talking about, then, am I right in thinking this is the period of feudal Japan, basically rival daimyos?
Mm-hmm.
The problem was in the mid 16th century, guns got introduced to the mix, so that's when things started getting real messy.
So you've got rival daimyos, which are like dukes or princes in European context, and samurai are fundamentally retainers, aren't they? Which is why they become ronin. Samurai doesn't have a position except in relation to his daimyo.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the word samurai, the literal translation is to serve.
Yeah.
So now, when your lord is killed or commits seppuku or something happens, you have no one to serve, so you become ronin.
Yeah.
And those guys are just those are the guys that just will do anything to eat. So but they won't go out and farm, or they won't like help repair a roof or something. They have a certain skill set that's only focused to one thing. So you're kind of stuck.
And throughout this period, then rival daimyos are basically trying to get control of the emperor, right?
Well, the emperor is really he's a symbolic, because he's a living god, so he's kind of just symbolic. The shogun is the he's the dude that runs everything. Like we'll listen to the emperor, but the shogun will kind of convince him that no, we should do this because we have to get that done. But so the rival clans are trying to get their guy to be the shogun, and then everybody would realize this is the leader. Now that doesn't mean that after that period when the shogun, like when Tokugawa Ieyasu becomes the shogun, doesn't mean that there's not going to be a lot more fighting because of what happened. So if you're going to play this period, you got 200 years worth of period to cover. Yeah.
And it ends with the Tokugawa shogunate, where he's basically killed or vassalized everybody.
Right. Yeah. It's
there's nobody left. Last man standing.
Yeah, it's either you join up or you just
you die.
Yeah, I remember that famous. What was it? I know it was historically inaccurate, but in Troy, where they're fighting all these guys and they're all pissed off, and then they go to Troy and they he wins the victory, and all the guys who hated him are like, I'm bringing you this beautiful heirloom vase because of your victory today. Yeah, but you just killed like half his armor the other day, and you hated him. Now it's like, all right, well, bend the knee, and that's it. And it's just that's basically what it is. But that's just
politics.
History, yeah.
Politics.
Oh yeah.
What is Flectarn, says Mythos? I'm not sure where that's come from. You might have to elaborate, because we are down to only 10 minutes remaining, by the way, guys.
You what?
Flectarn is the German current pattern of camouflage. It's the spotted camouflage that they have on German.
Oh,
smokes.
Right.
I thought somebody was saying something about I might have said something, my accent, and you didn't understand.
Oh, I'll never paint Flectarn on any mini. E.S. Taylor said that. Because you're painting like in a normal piece of Flectarn, they're less than an inch across, the little spots that are on it. So you're going to be getting a cat hair and painting it on your models at that point.
Yeah.
And if you don't paint it right, none of us are going to play with you. So don't even.
Yes.
I have played many a game with James Warhammer going back a few years where he just had grey plastic.
Yep.
It's not that I won't do it, but I did. After a while, I started to moan about it a bit, didn't I?
Yeah, you didn't win though. I only started painting my plastic when you started a channel.
Yeah.
Well, you could keep it. You could actually paint it gray, and you can wash it and just say it's black and white.
Yeah, I'm colorblind. I do whatever I want.
Yeah. So as we go around then quickly, let's see what we've all achieved. I've obviously sliced my thumb, but I have flashed 6 of these guys, nearly 7. So
sorry, what?
He's flashed 6 or 7 guys this evening.
Flashed 6 or 7
I was looking down.
Yeah. Stripped to the vest as well, mate. I flashed 6 or 7 shirtless guys. Now, it's just worth mentioning just because of what it is. This is the Warlord Resin, which I've not used before, and a lot of people want to use before. The bendy resin, John. You remember that, don't you?
It's not that bendy, mate.
Portland or USS Portland, was it? It's interesting because
is that rustic?
It's a softish. I don't know. It's bendy.
They call it thermoplastic.
It's the wrong term. The thermoplastic is the name of a process. That's kind of like saying oven baked.
I know, but that's what they call it.
But you can produce lots of different things by oven baking. Is what I mean. So it's not soft. It's bendy but hard. But what I do like about it compared to like the soft plastic, if you've had the Flames of War soft plastic infantry or other soft, is it cuts easily. It's kind of got. And it cuts a bit too easily, actually, but it makes so flashing by scraping doesn't work very well, but flashing by cutting works extremely well. So just running along the kind of edges, it cuts it off very neatly. And the cleanup on these is actually a lot easier than I thought. The problem with it, like any of these alternative materials, is you just want to grab your blade and do this. And that isn't what you want to do with this, because again, it's bringing a texture onto the surface. You do need to cut it rather than scrape at it.
Don't scrape.
But they have cleaned up very well, and the more I handle them, the more I am genuinely impressed with the detail. It's good. It's
if that's the Restic, because Mantic used to use that Restic stuff a lot, and you'd get like things are bent and stuff, but like. So these guys are Restic. I think it's the same thing. It's the same model. So I had this guy here, but then these two are the same model. So this guy, what I did was I put him in hot water and I, opened it up and moved his leg. So now they're 2 different models. So if it's the same as Restic,
oh wow,
you could put it in hot water and then you can bend it a little bit, or when you get the sword or the gun that's twisted, you can do that, and it works out pretty good if it's the same stuff.
Right.
I wonder.
Easy painting guide on YouTube and go from there. Yeah, Sonic Sledgehammer and Pete the Wargamer both do very good, like tabletop standard painting guides. So working through the rest of these. John, what are you showing? What you've been doing?
So I've got the metal on all but one the chainmail, on all but one of the Caesarean Dubros. So that's cool.
I can show them a photo of some of your finished Romans.
Oh,
are you all seeing this?
Yep,
I can see it.
So that's
only 4, so another 12 to do. They come out all right. I used a lot of contrast and stuff on this lot in an attempt to make it faster, but that's still like 6 hours of work there, mainly because of deciding what to do with the bases and if I'm going to do extra weathering on the shield, blah, 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 blah. They're all right. I mean, it's quicker than not doing it at all, I guess.
They'll look fantastic from 3 feet away on a camera.
Yeah, I think so.
James, what have you achieved this evening?
I took some models and a paintbrush, and then I did a painting.
You did a painting?
Just put some paint on some models. Yeah, I've got them base coated. Which, there you go.
Very nice.
I base coated 2 models.
And you, Coach, painted 12 pieces of scenery for testimony?
You know what? It's funny that we bought Crisis Protocols, and I live in New York, and I'm trying to recreate New York, which is kind of crazy. But I did 2 lampposts, I did 2 traffic lights, I did 2 dumpsters, and I did 2 cars.
Are they the right color, though, Coach? Or
they are gray. You know, for learning the game, they're good, but not for battle reports. Absolutely not.
I suppose dumpsters are quite important if you're playing a superhero game. You need somewhere to put the bad guys.
Well, you know what?
Somewhere to put your normal clothes in.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually cool though, that you could actually pick it up and throw it at people. So the scenery is important to have because it's an integral part of the game. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Lee Brown. I assume this is in relation to the dodgy comment I made earlier. Sounds like a dildo. That must have been something you said, John.
There's 2 different types of people. Kaiser, you mucky pop, and that's a dildo.
Sounds like
exact
a dildo.
same thing, actually. Hamster on the painting table. I was looking very vaguely at black powder, and I was like, oh, Prussians, that's a good idea. I like painting in black. And then I saw the Prussian cavalry in the soft resin, and the ones that were on the website fully painted had like their swords aiming at the floor, and not from the hand. They just drooped naturally in that manner.
Yeah. Frost, great work. Johnny says, Mythos from Frost and Fizz. Nice work. They all love and you're beautiful. Warlord Resin, Macedonian Sarissas. Wonder how straight they are. Well, interestingly, one of the things that Warlord have often done with their plastics, though, is they do sometimes issue you with a separate metal spear or standard. And I think they probably will do that for Lancers and things like that. Yeah, that's because it's usually like taped to the back of the packed by Vass or Marissa or whoever. On the back of there is a few bits of metal. Check an unboxing before you buy them. Basically, I think is the thing to do. Cutting shady 5 faces and faceplates for Mega Knobs. Mythos. What you need to be doing with those Mega Knobs is getting them as a Space Hulk team, mate. That's the best thing to do with Mega Knobs. You don't need Terminators. That's going to be a new project for Johnny B in 2047. It's called Mega Knobs. Because obviously the only Space Hulk game ever won by the Marines on our channel is when I brought Space Wolves to deal with what the Blood Angels couldn't.
Well, that's just because we know that the Ultramarines are the ultimate faction in the 40K universe. So
there's not a lot of love for them on this channel. Oh no, hang on, John.
No, I hate them as well, to be fair.
Johnny,
I just had a blue rattle can, you know, and I thought, I'm going to use these blue Blood Angels.
But Johnny B's, it's all about the beakies, though, isn't it, for you, John?
Yeah, it's all about the nostalgia hit for me.
Or one of the things I love about Johnny B's Beaky Marines is he had, a couple of years ago, Johnny B had a variety of different sergeants, but to go full retro, he's replaced all of the sergeant heads with the same original RTB head with the bionic eye, just with a different coloured haircut. He had them all different, and he's like, "No, it's right."
No, I only had a couple. I only had like 3 sergeants back then. It has expanded slowly over time. The worst bit was the original missile launchers, which looked really good, and all of my missile launchers were on there. And I played the Kaiser early on. I was teaching him the game. I was teaching him 40k. Within 2 games, he was teaching me the game. Because I'm an idiot. So, you know, it was pretty simple to overcome my prowess on the tabletop. But yeah, he was like, "Oh, they're missile launchers, mate. They're pretty crap. You ought to just, you know, have some heavy bolters. They're the thing at the moment." So he paid no attention to that. I went home, ripped all the missile launchers off, put heavy bolters on them, and then within 6 months, he's like, "Oh yeah, mate, you should use the missile launchers. They're really good now." I'm like, I just ripped them off.
But what I didn't realize when I said that is I assumed, like anybody else, he would just make 3 new Marines with heavy bolters. I didn't expect him to go and, you know, break down a 30-year-old model and rebuild it. Did I?
Finite resource, mate.
Do that. Finite resource. You got about 100 of them in a box.
This is true.
Hayes Miller's Miniatures. Good evening, buddy. So it's time, isn't it?
I know.
So, Coach.
Yes,
tell
sir.
these guys where, if they want to see more of your beautiful self and your son, what can they see over the next few weeks? What have you got coming up, and where will they find you?
So if you go to YouTube, Family Gamers 777, that's our channel. That's where most of the thing is. We're gonna do we've been doing Test of Honor month, so we interviewed Graham, who was one of the 2 guys who made the game, and now he's full-fledged doing it himself. We have a review of the book, another battle report, and someone sent me some decals of Mont. I'm going to do that, like a video of how to put them on the flags that the samurai wear.
Right.
Yeah. So that's that. And then
what about the arrow catchers, the big pillowcases they have on their back?
You know what?
They look stupid, so no one does them.
No, I don't. You know what? It's funny you say that, because I got in my bitch box. I got them all here. Look, see, they're all.
And you didn't put them on.
No.
If you've never seen it, they have like a giant pillow bag, decorated, painted, lovely bit of silk.
But that's on the horses. The horses have them. The huge, these big bubbles on the back. And if you watch a lot of movies, they don't put them in it,
because it's just got this big flapping bag of silk and wool. But the arrow catchers is what, if you're wondering what they're for.
Yeah,
they provide some protection against arrows, apparently, or at least they thought they did. And they're pretty ubiquitous, aren't they? But no one wants to put them on the models.
They're just silly.
Like they can just about get behind the flags.
Right.
He just looks like a 16th century radio man. But, but it's like the pillowcases are going too far. I love that. And what about that superhero game you're talking about, Coach? How long before they're going to see some of that?
We can't just make a battle report with unpainted minis and not knowing the game. So we're going to probably play for a while and then put it on the table. But you know what it is? It's gonna be. I'm in Johnny B's boat right now, because I'm going to paint them. It's not like
you're a ginger idiot. What?
Well, I'm follically challenged, so I wouldn't know.
Once upon a time.
But you want to paint them individually and then get them, because it's a true skirmish game. So maybe within the next 2 months, I want to get that out there. But we got a lot of we were maybe play some Dead Zone, play some 40K.
Oh, yeah, you guys are really into Dead Zone, aren't you?
Yeah. I was on the rules committee for a while, and then they decided to have all guys from England. I don't know. I guess my accent was too much, but yeah, that's a really Dead Zone is a really good. We've been playing it since like it came out, so yeah, it is a good game. That's the one I told you to try to get into, but it's dodgy. You know what? All these games are dodgy when you don't have someone to actually teach you how to play. If you're doing it from the beginning, even the videos and stuff, you miss it unless you got someone there like, oh wait, no, you rolled 3 instead of 4 because of this, and it's hard, but hey, you can muddle through it. And,
Yeah, it's just something about the time. I've got to say, and I probably shouldn't because the time's gone. But I have a real increasing unhappiness with Mantic, to be honest.
Yeah.
I want them to do well, but the quality of product that they put out is so unequal. Right, you know, you buy a box of miniatures and they're really nice, and then you buy another box of miniatures and they just don't fit together.
Right.
You know, and I'm just like, I had some of their space dwarves and I put them together with a great deal of effort, just 5 of them, because nothing fits. And I was just like, do you know what? This is. I'm not doing another 20 of these.
I don't know if you could see up there. So right.
I know you've got them because I've seen you playing them.
Yeah, I got about 300 of them.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So, yeah, and they were like Test of Honor, putting them together. They're very Finley, and they, you know, like putting the spears. So it was like the arms are separate and the spear is separate. So you have to put the spear with the arms and then put the arms onto the body. And after a while, we were just calling it a test of patience because
right,
it's so hard to get them on there, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but yeah, so. But if anybody's interested, you know, Family of Gamers, we do have our own Discord where it's really cool because we try to keep the jackasses out because we just won't have it. We kick them out. And, you know, we have a Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff. But, you know, we just really just hang out and play games. And, you know, if you don't like that game, that's cool. But if we like the game, we're going to play it.
But you've been doing it for a few years, so you got, you know, if people want to see Test of Honor content, you've got quite a bit of it.
Yeah,
if you want to see Dead Zone content, you've got a lot of it.
Yeah, we have about 200 videos of Dead Zone.
yeah. There you go. All right, guys, I think that's going to be it. We were a little bit over time. Next week, we have got Ken, I think, from Plastic Crap Podcast. I hope I've got that right. We've only got someone lined up for next week, and 10 o'clock on Friday, we'll be putting out another video. It probably be Johnny B's Warlord unboxing, but I might just put that out as an extra one.
Just throw it out there, mate.
We'll have a see. Really struggling to provide original content at the moment. It isn't just unboxings until we can meet up. For those of you in the US and elsewhere that don't know what the situation is here, we're still in lockdown. We've just been told by our floppy-haired prime minister that we might be able to meet each other in June or something like that.
May. I think May is when you can have someone from outside your household in your house.
If everything goes.
But to be honest, we think Johnny B needs to get his second, you know, inoculation before he can be coming round here, I think. So we'll see how that all pans out. And on Saturday, we will play another computer game. So that was us modeling for Advantage, joined by the delightful Coach and briefly joined by Andrew. I hope it's been worth your time. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you for being here, Coach. And hopefully in a few weeks' time, we'll have you on again. We'll do some
I love it. I mean, it's
all right, guys.
You said it's 10 o'clock out there?
Yes.
What are you guys, vampires or something?
It's 11 now.
Oh,
it's 11 now. Yeah. Well, we use
past bedtime.
We use bad language and things like that. So.
Oh, I wish you would have told me. I would have been. Oh, it would have been.
Next time.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.